Let's offer our prayers to Srila Prabhupada and Lord Krishna. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarini Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandrodaya ki jai, Shri Shri Nitai Gauranga ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. So I've been discussing from this book, The Science of Self-Realization, and we'll continue our discussions on a very important topic known as learning the science of the self. We have discussed this aspect to some extent in the previous session. Today, we'll continue our discussions further. The topic, learning the science of the self, part 2. And all these discussions are actually an inspiration from our founder Acharya, His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, who so tirelessly gave us this wonderful spiritual understanding in a very, very simple manner so that we can follow them in our day-to-day lives, in that way perfect our human life. We'll just quickly go through the points we discussed in our previous session. We discussed on an important aspect known as what is the missing point in modern society. We have great leaders, we have great personalities leading us in different ways, but we are missing this main point with regard to what is the purpose of human society, or what is the goal in human life. Scriptures say it's like blind leaders or blind people leading the blind people. Our leaders are blind from the spiritual perspective. The human life is not simply meant for increasing the gratification of our senses. Rather, the objective of human life is to have self-realization. It means understanding that I am spirit soul, I am connected to Lord Krishna, who is the supreme spirit soul, and re-establishment of this understanding and working in the direction is the actual perfection of human life. This aspect is missing in present context. And this is the missing point in the present day world. And in that way, we also understood the perfection of human life is to actually reawaken our understanding that we are part and parcel of Krishna, and we are duty bound to serve Krishna. This aspect is missing right now. So our natural position is to render service actually. Somebody may ask, why is that we have to serve Krishna? Because actually we are made in that way. We see, all of us are rendering service to so many people around us, or so many entities around us, and also we're receiving service from them. So it is our natural situation to see that we also we render service to someone. So we see in the material world that in spite of our best endeavors to render service to anyone, neither we are satisfied nor the person whom we are offering service is satisfied. So the example is given with regard to how if you want to pour water to the tree, what is the best way so that every part of the tree is nourished? The best way is to see that the water is poured to the root, so that every part of the tree is properly nourished. So like this, we have to understand that we are duty bound in one sense to serve Krishna. So actually, if you go into some more depth, the human beings have much better facilities than animals with regard to rendering service to Krishna. Because in human beings' case, what is happening is that we have a better facility with regard to our being evolved into a very better life with regard to having advanced consciousness, developed intelligence, right? So these faculties are not so much developed or advanced with regard to animals. So we have, in the evolution cycle, human beings have reached the highest level. So in one sense, the economic problems of the human being is very easily solved, not the way it is solved in a primitive condition with regard to animals. By the laws of nature, all of these things are taken care very nicely. But even otherwise, what is happening presently is that the human beings are not able to realize this aspect, and they are going on with what is known as in a polished animal society, which means animals actually are working very hard to get their food, the four basic necessities of life called Ahara, Nidra, Bhaya, Maitri. Food, where is food, where is place to sleep, where is where I can get some partner to have sex life, and how I can defend myself. If human beings are also doing the same thing in a very in a very elevated manner, or a very gorgeous manner, or a glamorous manner, that doesn't make them different from animals. So the modern society, in one sense, is a polished animal society. So we have to note this point. So in that way, we have also discussed that human beings are not meant to work very hard like animals. Their human energy is there for a specific purpose. Just like we took the example of how a highly placed officer compared to an ordinary person, a clerk, why are they having different comfortable situations? Rather, the comforts given to the officer is much better than an ordinary person. Why? Because the officer is rendering much responsible services compared to clerk. Likewise, the human form of life is meant to render responsible service. Or other responsibility of human life is to realize that I am spirit soul and work towards that. And act in a way that I am spirit soul. That is going to fulfill the purpose of human life. If you are not coming to this platform of self-realization, then we are no better than animals. So the modern society is geared up to just work in the fashion of trying to satisfy our senses, running here and there, and with no goal in life, no aim in life. So like this, what happens to us at the end of our life? People think that, after the finishing of this life, everything is finished. That is not the fact. Fact is that Bhagavad Gita explains our bodies are transmigrating from one life to another life. Based on our activities now and our previous lives, we get one more body next life. The human form of life is, in one sense, is an opportunity for us to prepare for a better next life. If we don't utilize it in a proper way, the laws of nature will see that you will be again degraded to lower life forms. It's like you're getting demoted to a situation wherein it is not very comfortable for you. Again, you have to go through the evolutionary cycle, and again you have to go through the step-by-step process of changing bodies after bodies. And finally, you get a human form of life, which means now that we have got a human form of life, it is a big boon to all of us, wherein we have a wonderful opportunity to realize the importance of human life, that is self-realization. That is understanding that I am spirit soul, I'm connected to Lord Krishna, and I'm supposed to render service to Krishna in the way Krishna has mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. So this is the whole background. Now let's start, or rather, let's look into the points which we want to discuss today. It's a nice, wonderful concept Prabhupada explains. A little endeavor on the spiritual path is going to give you a great success. Right? So somebody may say, oh, spiritual path is very difficult. You have to do a lot of austerities, a lot of difficult things you have to take up. No, nothing like that. So Prabhupada explains. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that those who attempt but do not complete the path of approaching God, even an attempt to reach God or path of self-realization, somehow you are not able to complete it, doesn't matter. Those who have failed to achieve complete success in Krishna consciousness are given the chance to appear in the families of the spiritually advanced or in financially well-to-do mercantile families. Around us, we see people, somebody who is fortunate in one sense with regard to having better facilities of life. Somebody is having more comfortable life with regard to their financial situation. Or we see some people are more fortunate with regard to practicing spiritual disciplines. Why is it so? Why? Because those people who have somehow could not complete the spiritual perfection are given an opportunity in the next life to continue and perfect. This is not the case with our material endeavors. In this life, you may be academically well qualified. You may have very good degrees from very reputed universities across the world. But next life, again, you have to start from zero. All those degrees, all those academic qualifications, all those aspects are not considered at all. Or say, for instance, in this life, you are a billionaire. All these things doesn't carry forward in your next life. Next life, you have to again begin with zero in your bank. Like this, whereas spiritual life is something which is cumulative, goes on getting added life after life, life after life. This is what Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita. That when you have somehow, for some reason, you are unable to complete the spiritual journey of your life, then you are given an opportunity to take birth in a better family, in a better situation. And then in that way, you are given an opportunity to move forward in your spiritual life. That is the special privilege which Krishna is going to give us if we simply follow, even though it is not complete or not perfect. If the unsuccessful spiritual aspirants are offered such chances of noble parentage, what of those who have actually attained the required success? So Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita explains, even if unsuccessful people are given this opportunity of a human life at least to continue with their journey and complete the journey, what about people who are endeavoring for success? What perfection they'll get? That is the whole point which we are discussing here. That human life is not simply meant to work hard like animals for our basic necessities of life. Now, if you are not working hard for spiritual perfection or spiritual goal of life, you will be nevertheless working hard for something material. That is the whole point which is missing in the present day society. Therefore, attempt to go back to God, even if half finished, guarantees a good birth in the next life. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Suchinam Srimatam Yogo Brashto Sanjayate. Means, even if it is not complete for some reason, unable to complete the journey of your spiritual life, Krishna gives an opportunity for you to pick up from wherever you have ended. Say your spiritual journey has come to the perfection of, say, 10%. Next life, you will begin from 11%, not again zero. As I explained to you, with regard to material achievements or material endeavors, you have to every time begin with zero. That is the special advantage which Krishna gives with regard to spiritual advancement. Anything you do is going to add on to your spiritual progress. So, human life is meant to attain the perfection of spiritual life, but somehow, for some reason, unable to. Krishna sees that, okay, from wherever you have, whatever point you are left, continue from there. So this is the special advantage of practicing spiritual life. Both the spiritual and the financially well-to-do families are beneficial for spiritual progress, because in both families, one can get a good chance to make further progress from the point where he stopped in his previous birth. See, points what we discussed just now. So basically, in both cases, with regard to either your spiritually good-to-do family, they are all very spiritually inclined families, or rich families. Both are very conducive for progress in spiritual life. From the point wherever you are left, you'll be continuing your progress. In spiritual realization, the atmosphere generated by a good family is favorable for the cultivation of spiritual knowledge. So like this, we see sometimes children at a very young age, they pick up things very soon with regard to spiritual activities. Why? Because it's all a continuation from the previous life. Many times people ask us, oh, why did you join the movement? Why did you become a dedicated missionary? It's only that maybe I have unfinished my spiritual journey in my previous life. So Krishna has given a chance to continue my spiritual journey. The Bhagavad Gita reminds such fortunate, well-born persons that their good fortune is due to their past devotional activities. This is the wonderful understanding which Krishna gives in Bhagavad Gita, that any person who is having some opportunity for spiritual activities like bhakti is all actually very fortunate, because they have done these activities in their previous life. For some reason, they are unable to complete it. Unfortunately, the children of these families, which families? Very well-to-do families, do not consult the Bhagavad Gita, and they are being misled by Maya, illusion. Maya means just not conducive for our spiritual progress. Just not having any Krishna content. That is called Maya. So people who are rich, they think that no, they're all well-to-do and they can do anything in there. They can enjoy, they're meant to enjoy their senses. That way, they are being misled. So there is a chance that even though you are born in a very good family or rich family, you can be misled. There's an aspect of what is known as minute independence for the living entity at every opportunity. So the point here which Prabhupada makes is that because this minute independence is there in us, we can very well misuse our situation, and that way again miss the opportunity, wonderful opportunity of what is that perfection we are supposed to go through in our human form of life. So this brings us to the next point, known as missed opportunity because of misuse. Birth in a well-to-do family solves the problem of having to find sufficient food from the beginning of life. The basic problems of everybody, every human being is roti, kapada, makan, right? Food, clothing, and shelter. So with regard to a person born in a well-to-do family or rich family, will not have to bother about these things, because already all these things are available as part of their being well-to-do. But in a family which is actually meeting their ends with great difficulty, they'll have problems. They'll be finding it very difficult to meet their ends, meet their necessities of life. So Prabhupada explains to us that problems of these basic necessities of life is not there in the with children who are born with such good facilities. And later, a comparatively easier and more comfortable way of life can be led by these children who are born in these families. They are not bothered about where to find my food, where to find my shelter, because of their previous pious activities, good activities, they have been born in a specific situation. So being so situated, one has a good chance to make progress in spiritual realization. So you have to understand, if I'm in a comfortable situation and Lord has given me a place, a shelter, and food is being given to me, I did not suffer or struggle to get these things, then it is an opportunity for me to utilize my body, my life, time of my life for spiritual progress. Now, it doesn't mean that even when you are not in a well-to-do situation, you cannot practice. But Things are such that when you're not in a well-to-do situation, you're worried about your basic necessities of life. That's the problem. So that way, the basic necessities of life, the problem of basic necessities of life is solved. So we have to utilize our time for spiritual realization. But as ill luck would have it, sorry, there was a disturbance. But as ill luck would have it, due to the influence of the present iron age, which is full of machines and mechanical people, the sons of the wealthy are misguided for sense enjoyment, and they forget the good chance they have for spiritual enlightenment. So the missed opportunity by misuse is such that the rich people think, oh, I have got better facilities, better amenities. Let me enjoy life. So they're misguided by sense enjoyment. They're misusing their opportunity of human life. So they're forgetting the good chance they have got, good opportunity they have got for spiritual enlightenment. So this is the unfortunate situation. So Krishna has given you good facilities, but you are not understanding why I've got these facilities, why I've got these opportunities. Therefore, nature, by her laws, is setting fires in these golden homes. Right? So the point is, if you don't utilize the opportunity, again you will be back to square one. Krishna will again take back all the facilities what he has given, and you have to start from scratch. It was a golden city of Lanka under the regime of the demoniac Ravana that was burned to ashes. That is the law of nature. Lanka was very, very prosperous, and Ravana had built a golden city full of gold. So even though it is golden city, if it is not practicing, or if it is not conducting the state with regard to the principles as given in Dharma, religious principles, it will again be vanquished, like how whole Lanka was vanquished. So we should always aspire for Rama Rajya within any state or country. Similarly, we should also see that we personally, at individual level and at the family level, we should try to practice the principles of Dharma as given by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. It's actually to revive our aspect of self-realization that I am spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna, that way I have to go back to spiritual world. This is the purpose of life, the whole goal of life. If this is forgotten, then all the facilities will be again taken away, taken back. Now, a person who is rich today may not be rich tomorrow. So when facilities are there, opportunity is there, please use it properly. Don't misuse it. Opportunity is given for you to progress. Please progress. Move forward in the spiritual life. That's the point. So with this, we come to the next point of why people are misled and they misuse opportunity is because they are misidentifying themselves as body. So this brings us to a very important question. What is important, the soul or the body? Right? For this, Prabhupada explains, the Bhagavad Gita is the preliminary study of the transcendental science of Krishna consciousness. In Bhagavad Gita, we get wonderful knowledge about what is soul, what is this body, and what is important and what is most important. It is a duty of all responsible heads of state to check out their economic and other programs by referring to the Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita has such wonderful directions that it can guide the entire humanity, entire society. Right? So the entire humanity and society has to be actually taking directions from Bhagavad Gita nicely. If they don't take directions, then they will be misguided. Because otherwise, our whole conditioning is what? To enjoy our senses to the maximum extent. And no purpose of life, no goal in life. So Bhagavad Gita is meant to give direction to us with regard to how to move forward in our human life. We are not meant to solve economic questions of life by balancing on a tottering platform. People are trying to make some patchwork solutions with regard to different problems and miseries which they come across in life. But nothing is working out. Oh, I did this, I did that, but nothing is working out. That is how the material world is. Rather, we are meant to solve the ultimate problems of life which arise due to the laws of nature. What are the ultimate problems of life? It is mentioned as Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. These are the ultimate problems of life which all of us have to find solution. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, Dukkha, Doshanu, Darshanam. You understand they are the actual miseries in life. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. When find solution for them, then your human life is perfect. Otherwise, you go on in this human form of life like this, without solving these problems, then one day you have to die. And after death, what will happen? We understood in a previous session that the laws of nature, laws of karma will give us a suitable body based on our activities in this life and our previous cumulative actions of previous lives. What is that life form? You also don't know. So you're completely under the control of laws of nature. So Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita that why don't you utilize the human form of life to create a best future for you. That is to return back to your spiritual situation of going back to spiritual world, which we have forgotten right now. So the human life is meant to reorient or redirect ourselves to this particular aspect, to solve the ultimate problems of life which are arising due to our contact with this material nature. So it is important to note here one very, very significant point being made by Prabhupada. Civilization is static unless there is spiritual movement. Very important point. When your spiritual progress is not happening, you may say, we are advancing, what we are advancing? Prabhupada challenges in more context. You may say we are advanced in science, we are advanced in medicine, we are advanced in technology, but you're only seeing that the death rate has not come down, nor the diseases have not decreased. Everything is going up. We are such a we have gone through a very serious situation of what is known as pandemic 2 years, say just recently. Still, the traces of them are going on all over the world. So, with our most advanced technological know-how, with very up-to-date medical facilities, where is that? What are we doing? Where are we going? Is the point. So, the challenge here is we have to see where are we heading towards in our life. So civilization, Prabhupada says, will be static, which means it may look like, oh, I am doing that, I am doing this, but all those things are not helping your spiritual movement or spiritual progress. See the perspective of the Vedas, Bhagavad Gita. The Vedic perspective is tamasima jyotirgamaya, mrityoma amritam gamaya. Means from this world of mortality or death, we have to go to a place where we become deathless. From this place of ignorance and darkness, we have to go to a place where there is light and illumination. If you continue to stay in the place of darkness, the place of death, and say, oh, I'm progressing, that is not called progress. That is actually known as you are where you are. Very wonderful example Prabhupada gives. The soul moves the body and the living body moves the world. We are trying to understand the question of what is important, soul or the body. Actually, the soul is moving the body. When the soul leaves the body is static. It doesn't move at all. We are concerned about the body, but we have no knowledge of the spirit that is moving that body. A very wonderful example is given in this context. It's like there are so many bogies attached to a train, compartments. If you say that compartment 8 is moving, why? How it is moving? Because compartment 7 is pulling it. Likewise, compartment 7 is moving because compartment 6 is pulling it. Like this, you come up to the point of compartment 1. Compartment 1, why it is moving? Because the engine is pulling it. Engine is pulling the whole set of compartments. And why? How is the engine moving? Engine is moving because there is a operator, driver, who is pressing the buttons and he's operating the whole engine. If the operator is not operating the engine will not work even for thousands of years on its own automatically. Somebody has to press the button, which means A spiritual touch is important for any sort of actions and movements in the material world. It may look like things are working automatically, but behind every action, there is a spiritual touch, spiritual push. This aspect we have to realize and appreciate. That's what Prabhupada is telling. We are right now concerned with only actions of the body, but we have no knowledge that behind every action, there is a spiritual touch, which is actually moving the body. Without the spirit, the body is motionless or dead. A dead body, you see, talk to the dead body or any interaction with the dead body is useless because spirit soul has left the body. So with this, we come to a very important point known as human body, in one sense, an excellent vehicle. We are not the body. We are the resident inside this body. We are having a vehicle, one wonderful vehicle of human body. We are the spirit soul. In one sense, we are the driver. The human body is an excellent vehicle by which we can reach eternal life. So this is the point we have been discussing repeatedly, at how in human form of life we can achieve the perfection of our spiritual goal. That is to return back to spiritual world. And human body is that wonderful vehicle to reach us to that goal. In other bodies, this is not possible, not easy. It is rare and very important boat for crossing over the ocean of nescience, which is material existence. Nescience means ignorance, darkness. So it is said, Durlabham Manusham Janma. Durlabham Manusham Janma means very rarely you get human form of life. We have discussed this point already. That human life, to come to this human form of life, you have to go through an evolution of 84 lakh species of life. It's like telling that, if you have to, I think recently there was a news telling that to get US visa, you have to wait for 2 years. If you're fortunate, you'll get an appointment. To get an appointment, you have to wait for 2 years. So likewise, if I say, if you get human form of life, you have to wait for 84 lakh species of life. Lifetime, so many millions of years will go. Just imagine how wonderful this human form of life is, how rarely we have got this human form. This aspect we have to appreciate, realize. Then we value this human form of life. Very rarely we have got this human form of life. Let us not misuse it unnecessarily for some things which is not actually fulfilling the purpose of life. So it is a very important boat, Prabhupada says, very important boat for crossing the ocean of nescience, this darkness, the ocean of ignorance, Bhavasagara, Samsara Chakra. On this boat, there is a service of an expert boatman, the spiritual master. Prabhupada has established his movement and he is guiding us constantly to just get onto this boat. This boat of human life can be, if you can have this wonderful captain of Prabhupada, our spiritual master, then what happens? We can move forward very nicely because he's going to direct us in our life. By divine grace, the boat plies the water in a favorable wind. The captain knows where is the favorable wind, which direction I have to go. Otherwise, left to yourself, you don't know where to go, how to go. Right? So, accepting the direction of a spiritual master is like accepting a captain on the ship or on the boat. With all these auspicious factors, who would not take the opportunity to cross over the ocean of nescience? So human life is such a wonderful opportunity for all of us. If you can utilize it properly by taking directions from the spiritual master, Prabhupada, and guide our lives, or take directions from his instructions and lead our lives in that way, then we'll reach the destination, the goal of life. That way, human life is an excellent vehicle. It's a boat to cross the ocean of nescience. All these wonderful examples are important for us to realize the importance of human life. If one neglects this good chance, it should be known that he is simply committing suicide. It's such a wonderful opportunity you have got. You miss the opportunity, then you are actually committing suicide. Very nicely, one of our acharyas explains, Manushya Janama Paive, Radha Krishna bhaja na bhajite. Means you got Manusya Janma and you're not worshipping Radha Krishna, which means you're not performing devotion and perfecting your human life. Janiya Shuniya Vishakhaya. You are knowingly drinking poison, which means you're committing suicide. So not utilizing human form of life for spiritual perfection is like misusing our human life, opportunity for human life, and knowingly drinking poison. Unfortunate. That's what most of the human beings are going towards, not understanding the purpose of human life, trying to maximize sense gratification in their life. That way, they are missing the opportunity of wonderful human life. It's a rare opportunity. So with this, we come to the important question of what is the prime necessity of life? Prabhupada explains. It's a very wonderful example. There is certainly a very great deal of comfort in the first class coach of a train. Okay? Most of us would have traveled the train, the different classes, first class, second class. Yes, first class means the most, comfortable situation. You are given a separate seat and nobody is going to disturb you. Very less disturbance with regard to the sound which you get from outside. And all facilities with regard to your eating, everything is taken care, comfortable place to sleep is there. But if the train does not move towards its destination, what is the benefit of an air-conditioned compartment? This is the point. Very important point Prabhupada is making. A very comfortable situation. I'm keeping my body. I'm trying to see that my body is healthy, fit, and everything. I'm keeping it in a very, very nice situation. But if using this body, I don't move forward towards my destination of spiritual goal, then what is the use? Like a train, you're sitting in a first class compartment, but the train does not move at all. Which means, what is the use of sitting in the train? That is the example. Very wonderful example Prabhupada is giving. Striking example. Contemporary civilization is much too concerned with making the material body comfortable. This is exactly the present situation. We want the best of the comforts, best of the situations, best of the amenities. But what is the purpose? Not for any spiritual progress, but for trying to maximize my sense gratification. How to eat nicely, how to drink nicely, how to sleep nicely, how to enjoy your senses nicely. That's what people think is the purpose of life. If that is the goal in life and you don't understand what form a human life is there, then the human life is actually, we're going to spoil the human life. Right? Shrama evahi kevalam, Bhagavad says, simply will be over-endeavoring with regard to working hard to get comforts of life. But what is the use? What is your goal is not achieved. So this is what is present situation of the contemporary civilization. It is too much concerned with making the material body comfortable. So no one has information of the real destination of life, which is to go back to Godhead. This is lacking presently. We have a wonderful vehicle. We are sitting in a wonderful vehicle, all comfortable situation, but we are not moving forward. Where it has to go back to Godhead, which means you have to go back to Krishna Loka, Goloka Vrindavana. That is the purpose of life. That is missed. In all the comfortable situations, we have worked hard, and all the different wonderful situations we have is of no use. So this is actually self-realization, understanding that the purpose of life is not simply to increase our material comforts or material gratification. Rather, it is to work towards the goal of self-realization. That is, I am spirit soul, and I have to work as spirit soul to reach my destination of going back to spiritual world in association with Krishna. We must not just remain seated in a comfortable compartment. We should see whether or not our vehicle is moving towards its real destination. Right? Simply sitting in our compartment and thinking that, oh, everything is working very fine, AC is working very fine, I'm getting my food nicely, everything going well. Recently, I was speaking to some people. I just asked this question to them. What do you think is the goal of life? The answers were like this. Some people told happiness. Some people told peace of mind. Some people told, good position. So people are actually unaware of what is the purpose of life. In Bhagavatam, Prahlad Maharaj says, Nate vidus swartha gatim hi Vishnu. People don't know what is their actual self-interest. They're thinking maintaining the body in a comfortable situation and having a comfortable family, society, and community, and just fulfilling their demands. That is the purpose of life. That's what Prabhupada is pointing out here. That just remaining in a comfortable situation and your journey of spiritual life is not taken care, then what is the point? You're not your movement is not happening with regard to your goal in life. You're static where you are. There is no ultimate benefit in making the material body comfortable at the expense of forgetting the prime necessity of life, which is to regain our lost spiritual identity. So, as long as we don't revive our spiritual identity, that I'm spirit soul and I have my spiritual duties to do and work towards self-realization, then again we'll be missing the opportunity, and this wonderful human life you have got, again we'll degrade ourselves to some other lower life forms. Right? So material body is a vehicle, excellent vehicle to utilize it for fulfilling the prime necessity of life, that is self-realization. That is to go back to spiritual world, to regain our lost spiritual identity. It is the purpose. Right? So with this, I conclude today's session. If anybody is willing to ask, discuss, and comment, I welcome. Anybody online? Post? Any questions? Any clarifications? This is a very wonderful topic which Prabhupada is explaining to us with regard to the purpose of life, the goal in life, which is actually very important for us to remind ourselves every now and then, because the material atmosphere is such that it will make us to forget the goal of life. It will enamor us with so many other things that we forget the goal, the purpose of life. In fact, Prabhupada was speaking to a few scholars in Germany in 1974. So Prabhupada began his talks like this. So we've written so many books. Prabhupada says he has written so many books and he has published so many books. He has established so many centers across the world just to teach people this point. The purpose of life, the goal of life is to understand that I'm spirit soul, I'm part and parcel of Krishna, we will render service to Krishna. If this is not done, the goal of life is actually not, it is actually defeated in one sense. Bhagavata says, Parabhavastavad abodha jata. It's Parabhava. Whatever you do will be a defeat in our life if we don't understand this aspect. Okay, so thank you everybody for participating in today's session. We'll continue our discussions and conclude this topic of learning the science of the self, specifically in our next session. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.